Ever tried explaining yourself to someone who clearly doesn't want to understand? The kind of person who already made up their mind before you even opened your mouth? They don't listen to hear you. They listen to twist your words, argue with your tone, and flip your message into something it never was. And the more you try to clarify, the deeper you sink into their game. Let me tell you something that might just change the way you deal with these people forever. The moment you stop explaining, you start winning. Seriously, explaining yourself to someone who refuses to grow is like pouring clean water into a broken cup. It just leaks out, wasted. You're not helping them understand. You're handing them ammunition. Here's the truth. Some people will never get you because doing so would force them to admit they might be wrong. It would require them to question their own mindset, and that's too uncomfortable for them. They need you to keep talking, defending, and over-explaining. Why? Because it gives them control. It feeds their ego. It keeps the spotlight off their own flaws. But once you stop, everything shifts. The silence. It's not weakness, it's power. And that power is yours to reclaim. So ask yourself, are you explaining to be understood, or just to be accepted by people who aren't even capable of meeting you where you are? Because the harsh reality is, not everyone is meant to understand your path. And that's not your failure, that's their limit. And if you're tired of wasting your breath, your time, and your peace on people who only want to argue, stay with me. This message might be exactly what you needed to hear. Let's begin. If this message made you stop and think, if it reminded you that you don't need to keep explaining yourself to people who refuse to grow, then hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it too. We're creating content that isn't just talk, it's a shift in perspective, a reminder of your power. Your voice matters here, so drop a comment and share your thoughts. Have you ever dealt with someone who just wouldn't listen? Let's talk about it below. Number 1. Stop wasting your energy on people who've already decided to disagree. Why are you still explaining yourself to people who already decided not to hear you? Here's a harsh truth. Some people made up their minds about you before you ever opened your mouth. They didn't come to understand. They came to resist, to challenge, to shrink what they can't comprehend. And no matter how clear, how calm, or how correct you are, they're not listening because they already decided you're wrong. It's like pouring truth into a glass that's already full. There's no space for anything new. You explain your goals, your growth, your shift in mindset. And what do you get? Sarcasm, eye rolls, that smirk that says, "Who do you think you are?" They don't want to understand your change, because if they do, they'll be forced to face their own refusal to evolve. And most people aren't ready for that. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop trying to convince them, show them. Let your life speak what their ears refuse to hear. Let me tell you about Daniel, a guy who started improving his life. He began waking up early, training, building his own business. Excited, he told his old friends, and they laughed, mocked him. "So now you think you're better than us?" they said. He tried to explain, to get them to see what he was building, but they didn't want to see. Not because they couldn't, but because seeing it would mean admitting that they too could do better, and that scared them. Daniel learned to stop explaining and just do the work. He let his progress speak. And the moment he did that, something shifted. Their words lost weight. Their opinions lost power. So here's your lesson. Stop explaining to people who don't even want the truth. Focus on your path. Let your growth speak louder than your defense. Some people aren't ready to wake up, and it's not your job to shake them. Let them sleep. You've got things to build. Keep going. Number 2, don't let them twist your words. Silence is your ultimate defense. Stop wasting energy on people who already made up their minds. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is trying to explain yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. You've probably been there. You share an idea, a plan, or a dream with someone, and right away they shut it down. They roll their eyes, change the subject, or act like you're being too much. It doesn't matter how calm you are, how clearly you speak, or how much sense it makes. They're not listening to understand. They're listening to defend what they already believe. Here's the truth. Small-minded people don't want to learn something new. They want to feel right. They don't care about your growth. They care about staying in control of the way things have always been. And the more you try to explain yourself to them, the more power you give away. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That means stop trying to convince people who don't want to be convinced. Just live your life. Let your actions speak for you. I'll tell you a story. There was a guy I know. Let's call him Daniel. He started improving his life, waking up early, working out, building his own business. He was proud of his progress and wanted to share it with his old friends. But instead of support, he got jokes. "You think you're better than us now?" they said. He tried to explain how much better he felt, how he was creating a new life, but they kept making fun of him. And then Daniel realized they weren't confused. They were uncomfortable. If they admitted he was doing well, they'd have to face the fact that they could change too, but didn't, and that was too hard for them. So how do you handle people like this? First, stop explaining. You don't need to defend your choices. Second, lead by example. Show them with results, not words. And third, protect your energy. Some people aren't ready to grow, and that's not your problem. At the end of the day, your job isn't to wake people up. It's to keep walking your own path. Let them stay stuck if they want to. You've got better things to do. Live your truth, and let your actions say everything you need to say. Number 3, break free from pointless arguments that drain your energy. Don't let them twist your words. Silence is your ultimate defense. One of the most frustrating things you'll ever deal with is trying to explain yourself to someone who only wants to twist your words. You might start with good intentions. You just want to clear things up. Maybe you think if you explain a little better, they'll finally understand. But they don't. Instead, they twist what you said. They turn your words into something you never meant. They make you look wrong, selfish, or even like the bad guy. And before you know it, you're stuck trying to defend yourself from something that was never true to begin with. Here's the truth. The more you explain, the more you give them to use against you. These people don't care about truth. They care about control. They're not confused. They're playing a game. And that game is meant to keep you confused, frustrated, and powerless. But you don't have to play. There's a quote by Epictetus that says, "When someone is properly grounded in life, they do not waste time defending their honor." That means strong people don't feel the need to explain themselves to everyone. They know who they are. They don't let twisted words pull them into battles that don't matter. Let me tell you about someone named Sophia. She worked with a person who always misrepresented her. If she gave a suggestion in a meeting, they'd twist it and make it sound like she was being negative. At first, Sophia tried to explain, again and again, but nothing worked. They just kept twisting her words. Then one day, she stopped. No more explaining, no more defending. She focused on doing her job and let her actions speak. And guess what? When she stopped feeding their drama, Their power over her disappeared. So here's how to deal with people like this. First, see the truth. If someone keeps twisting your words, it's not confusion, it's on purpose. Second, stop over-explaining. You don't owe answers to people who are only looking to argue. And finally, let silence be your strength. Don't respond to the drama. Let them waste their energy while you protect yours. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to fight people who are committed to misunderstanding you. The truth always comes out. So stay calm, stay silent, and let your actions speak for you. Number 4. Don't let small minds project their limitations onto your vision. Don't get pulled into pointless debates that drain you. Let's talk about one of the biggest ways people waste your time and energy: arguing with those who have no real interest in the truth. You've probably been there. You say something honest, hoping for a real conversation. But instead, they twist your words, argue just to argue, and ignore all logic. No matter how clearly you explain, they keep pushing you into circles. Here's the truth: these people don't want to learn. They want attention. They enjoy the drama. And the more you try to make them understand, the more tired and frustrated you become. It's not a real conversation. It's a trap. Arguing with small-minded people is like wrestling in the mud. You both get dirty, but they love it. This is where ancient wisdom can help. The philosopher Zeno once said, "It's better to trip with your feet than with your tongue." That means it's smarter to make mistakes in action than to waste your breath in useless arguments. Wise people know when to speak and when to walk away. Let me tell you a quick story. A man I know, let's call him Jason, had a co-worker who always wanted to argue. No matter what Jason said, the guy would challenge it, twist it, or bring up random points to distract him. Jason tried for months to explain himself, defend his views, and prove he was right. But one day he finally saw the truth. This man wasn't trying to learn. He was just wasting Jason's time. So Jason stopped. He gave short, calm replies. No drama, no long debates. And guess what? That coworker lost interest. Without Jason's energy, the game wasn't fun anymore. So how do you protect yourself from this? First, know when a talk is going nowhere. If the other person isn't listening with an open mind, don't keep explaining. Second, protect your energy. Not every argument is worth your time. And finally, remember this: you don't have to prove anything to people who just want to argue. Let them talk to themselves. You've got better things to do. Let them waste their breath. You keep your peace and keep moving forward. Number 5, stop engaging with those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Don't let their fear become your limit. Let's talk about something dangerous people do without even realizing it. They push their fears onto your dreams. You might share a big goal, a bold plan, or a new idea you're excited about, and instead of support, you get doubt. Are you sure you can do that? That sounds risky. Most people fail at that. At first, it might sound like concern, but look closer. That fear, that doubt, it's not about you, it's about them. They're showing you what they believe is possible, not what you are capable of. Their words are coming from their own fear, their own failures, and their own limits. The truth is, people who've never taken big steps will always warn you to play it safe. People who've never left their comfort zone will always tell you to stay in yours. It's not because they know you'll fail, it's because they don't believe they could succeed. And instead of facing that, they try to make you believe it too. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said: a person's worth is measured by what they value. If someone values safety and comfort, They'll never understand someone who values growth and boldness. Their mindset is shaped by fear. Don't let it shape yours. Let me share a story. A guy I know, let's call him Alex, wanted to start his own business. He was excited, ready, and full of ideas. But when he told his friends, all he heard was doubt. Most businesses fail. Are you sure you're ready? At first, he started doubting himself too. But then he realized none of those people had ever started a business. They weren't speaking from experience. They were speaking from fear. So Alex stopped listening. He moved forward, worked hard, and built his business. And later, the same people who doubted him said, "I always knew you could do it." Funny how that works. So how do you handle this? First, recognize where their fear is coming from. Their doubts are theirs, not yours. Second, stop arguing. Let your actions be your answer. And finally, protect your vision. Not everyone deserves to hear your dreams. Share them with people who lift you up, not pull you down. Just because someone else can't see it doesn't mean you can't do it. Don't let small minds shrink your big dreams. Keep going and show them what's truly possible. Number 6, don't give them the satisfaction. Master your emotions and stay unbothered. Stop trying to be understood by people who choose to misunderstand you. Here's a hard truth most people won't tell you. Some people aren't confused. They're committed to misunderstanding you. And no matter how clearly you speak, how gently you explain, or how much logic you bring to the table, they'll still twist your words, flip the story, and somehow make you look like the villain. Why? Because they don't want peace. They want power. And every time you explain yourself to them, you're handing it over. Some people feed off confusion and conflict. They want you to stay stuck in a loop of defending yourself. Not because they're curious, not because they're hurt, but because it keeps you under their control. The more you talk, the more material they have to distort. The more patient you are, the more they poke just to see you break. And this isn't just annoying, it's draining. You walk away questioning yourself, exhausted, wondering how the truth got so lost. But that's the game, that's the trap, and here's your way out. Like Seneca said, "He who indulges in empty fears earns himself real fears." When you worry too much about how others see you, you start living on defense. You lose your center. Wise people? They don't waste breath on those who don't want to listen. They protect their energy like it's gold. I remember someone named Natalie who went through this with a family member. Every word she said was twisted. Every boundary became an insult. Every opinion was used against her. And one day she just stopped. She didn't fight. She didn't explain. She answered calmly, briefly, and walked away. Guess what? The drama collapsed. Why? Because she stopped feeding it. So the next time someone chooses to misunderstand you, don't take the bait. Let them stay confused. Let them believe what they want. That's not your business. Your peace? That's what matters. Let them talk. Let them twist. But don't let them steal your power. Walk away with your dignity intact and never look back. Number 7, your growth is none of their business. Stop explaining yourself. Don't give them the satisfaction. Master your emotions and stay unbothered. Have you ever noticed how some people always seem to know exactly what to say to push your buttons? It's not a coincidence. It's a tactic. They throw little jabs, twist your words, or act just insulting enough to get under your skin. And the moment you snap, whether it's anger, frustration, or just trying to defend yourself, they win. That reaction, that's exactly what they wanted. These people don't care about finding peace or understanding. They're not trying to fix anything. They're looking for fuel. Your emotions feed them. The more upset you get, the more they feel in control. The more you explain yourself, the more they'll poke. It's a cycle. And the longer you stay in that loop, the more power you hand over. Here's the truth. Some people thrive on your emotional responses because it gives them attention, control, and the upper hand in every conversation. But when you stop reacting, you flip the script. Suddenly, they don't know what to do. You're not playing their game anymore. Like the Stoics taught, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. That means no yelling, no defending, no proving your point. Just calm, unshaken, detached. And that's what real power looks like. Let me tell you about Eric. He worked with someone who always tried to embarrass him in front of others, laughing at his ideas, making little comments, trying to make him angry, and it worked for a while. Until Eric changed. The next time it happened, he just smiled and said, "Interesting perspective. No fight, no reaction, just cool composure." And just like that, the provocations lost their sting. So how do you win this game? You don't play it. Recognize the pattern. Stay calm. Protect your energy. Because the person who can stay silent in chaos, that's the person no one can control. Number 8. Never ask for permission to evolve. Keep moving forward, regardless of their approval. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your growth. Here's something they never tell you. When you start growing, people won't always clap for you. In fact, many will act like you've done something wrong. You start eating better, waking up earlier, choosing peace over chaos, and suddenly it's, "You've changed." Well, yes, that's the point. But here's the trap. They want you to feel guilty for becoming someone they're not ready to accept. They'll say you're being distant, boring, or too focused now. They'll mock your discipline, question your new mindset, or try to pull you back into the version of you that made them comfortable. But growth isn't about comfort, it's about evolution. And the truth is, you owe no one an explanation for that. When you grow, you unintentionally hold up a mirror to those who've stayed the same. And for some, that's hard to look at. Your progress reminds them of the work they haven't done. Your new standards expose their old habits. So instead of growing with you, they try to shrink you back down. That's why you must stay strong. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In other words, if your path feels right to you, walk it. No explanation, no permission needed. Let me tell you about Sarah. She used to party every weekend with her friends. Then one day, she started changing, reading more, hitting the gym, focusing on her future. And guess what? The same friends who once cheered for her started mocking her. "You think you're better now?" they said. But she didn't argue, she didn't explain, she just kept going. And slowly, the noise faded. The right people stayed, the rest disappeared. So what should you do? First, stop chasing approval. Second, understand, not everyone's meant to grow with you. And third, keep moving. Let your results speak. Because at the end of the day, real growth doesn't need applause. It just needs consistency. Keep rising. Let them talk. You don't owe them a single word. And here's the truth that ties it all together. Growth will always challenge the comfort zones of others. But that's not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for making others comfortable with the new you. Stay on your path, stay true to your evolution, and never feel the need to explain what's meant for you. If this message hit home, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more real conversations like this, and share it with someone who's outgrowing their old life too. Have you ever been judged for growing? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it.